I got it made, you never delay. You came and you paid, surveyed the property you made. Put in an offer, you didn't have to say. I got it made for real. It's been like God in here. Bitch got a grace appeal. They stick with annoying, what else am I supposed to feel? Don't you come in, put your feet up, how you waiting here? Let me back up while you do you, I won't interfere. Check my feng shui, I can rearrange the chandelier. Get a show ready where you set it
Lord,
up.
I ain't Instagram connected with it. This braille talking gotta make them feel I'm something special, I ain't just a vessel. I found your word was my way to heal. Now I'm outside trying to spread the message. The devil dripping, he been causing wreckage. My testimony went from declining to the upper hand, finally gave me leverage. What I felt was a stretch, it led to agility. You were the balance, I needed stability. All the allure, spirit so pure, from Father to Son like the holiest Trinity. Open arms, I receive the blessings. In every lesson, hope to see progression. The more you lead me to community, the more I see a need for intercession. Gotta pray for 'em.
I'll be your temple, I'll be your sanctuary. You can come dwell here, why won't you come and fill me? Jesus, have your way.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the F.L.Y Show. When I tell you, let me real quick before we get into the haze and how y'all doing. When I tell you, I love my intro song, love it. Okay, love it. If you've never heard, make sure you go download the song called "Temple" by Cy the Southern Yankee, Big Rissa, J Dot, and I forgot it's two more artists. It is a phenomenal gospel hip hop song. So if you want to listen to clean music but you like upbeat but you don't want to have that churchy shouting music and you like that hip hop gospel, they are wonderful people to check out. My brother, he goes by Cy the Southern Yankee. He goes to Embassy City Church, him and his wife, Christy, and just go check them out. I just had to, put that shameless plug out there. But back to what I was about to say. Welcome back to the F.L.Y Show. For those of you that don't know what the F.L.Y stands for, the F.L.Y stands for First Love You, and I am your host with the most. I am Jasmine D. Milhouse, and I want to welcome you back. For everyone that's returning, if you are new here, welcome. Make sure you get comfortable. Make sure you like, tag, and share. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for everyone that is on YouTube. If you see this red button up in this corner right here somewhere, wherever they at on the screen, that lets you know that we are live. So anything that you say, any comment that you put, I will be able to see it. I may not necessarily comment on it right now, but anything that you put in the comments, I will be able to see it. So I want to thank each and every one of you for always joining me here every single week. Same show, same channel. You know what it is. I like to bring some of the most phenomenal industry leaders right here on the F.L.Y Show just to get into their journey, see what it's like for them. What was it like to get to where they are? What is it like in their field? What is it like for them in their mindset? What got them to where they are today? And what gave me that thought was my book that I wrote. If you don't know, my book is titled How Did I Get Here? The Untold Journey to Finding Myself. And when I wrote that book, it gave me an idea to ask other people, because you see people, they come on shows and they interview about their businesses and things like that, but rarely do we have the ability to sit down and have a conversation and just get in the mind of the person just personally, right? So that is what I love to do here on the F.L.Y Show. And tonight, this lady, I have known her for, when I tell you, that long, and she has made such an impact in my life, personally and professionally. Okay, just hold your mute, as Tab say. Hold your mute. Let me get into it. Because tonight I am going to be interviewing none other than Mrs. Contrina Wilcox. She is, well, she has and is, because she a whole wife out here in these streets. She has been married for 31 years. She has 4 beautiful children and 3 beautiful granddaughters. Now, when I bring her on here, just know that God, there is a God somewhere, because she don't look like she have 4 kids, and she don't look like she got 3 grandkids. Okay, I'm just gonna throw that out there. But don't mind me, find out for yourself. She was blessed to retire after working 27 years for the Fulton County government in 2016 and changing careers. God has graced her to become a clinical mental health counselor. The journey of counseling started for her when she found herself in a position of counseling years even before going to school. She is passionate for what she do. She loves to see people do well, and she feels given the right information and tools, people can thrive, not be perfect, but be well and have a life that is normal for them. She has served many clients with all type of diagnoses, from schizophrenia, bipolar, depression, suicidal ideation, and anxiety. She additionally served the wounded well. These are a group of people that do not have mental health diagnosis, but may be going through a life situation that is hard and need therapy to discover a solution for healing themselves. Now, without further ado, it is my honor, it is my pleasure to introduce to some and present to many Miss Contrina Wilcox.
Hello there, hello there, hello there.
Hey,
How are we doing
hey.
tonight, Jasmine?
Yeah. When I tell you, listen, first of all, if I had on a hat, I would take it off and tilt it and all that other stuff, bow curtsy, because just looking at the accomplishments that I did not read on your bio, they are phenomenal. And for me to know you on a personal level, when I tell you it is a blessing, it is a blessing. So I counted it all joy to be able to sit here and chat with you on tonight. So thank you for being my beautiful guest on this evening.
It is my pleasure. First, I want to say thank you for having me. You're talking about my accolades. You are a phenomenal person yourself. So thank you so much for having me. Your creativity, this show, First Love Yourself. It's a blessing to be here. And I'm excited to pour in the audience, as well as we have dialogue and exchange with each other. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, let's get into it then. Okay, let's
Okay.
get into it. So my first question is who is Contrina Wilcox?
That's a great question. Who am I? First, I'm a person of faith. I love people. I love to nap. I enjoy my family. I love cooking. I love serving others. I love what I do. I'm a prayer warrior. I give to others. I'm a person that take things to heart. I love hard. One of my defaults is that I love hard, and I expect other people to do the same. But I learned a long time ago, everybody's not going to pour like you pour. Everybody pours differently. And so that was one of the hardest things for me to grasp, and it still is. I'm a work in progress. But basically, that's who I am in a nutshell. I love to give. I love to pour. I love to talk. I love to see people do well, as you stated before, and I'm a giver. That's who I am.
And so with all of that, all of that, all of let's take a journey.
Sure.
Let's go from the beginning, travel on up down this road.
Okay.
As a young child, adolescent, teenage
Mhm.
years,
Mhm.
what were your thoughts then? Did you see yourself on this path right here? Did you see yourself in clinical mental health? What did you see yourself as a little girl?
That is a great question. I've always been a giver, even as a child. Even when I was younger, I was raised by a single mother. Even as a child, I snuck food out of the house. I've always been a giver. But even through that, in giving and giving, I was a teen mom. So getting to this journey wasn't easy. As a young person, I didn't see myself where I am now. It was a day by day because my life challenges were very different as a teen mom. As a child, I had a great childhood. There were some challenges there because I was raised by a single mom and she did the best she could with what she had.
Right.
But my mom was a great mother. Let me be clear. But even as a teen mom, I was limited to certain things that I can see because I was caught up in my circumstance and raising my son. And my son, he's beautiful today. He's grown today and blessed me with those 3 grandbabies. But at that time, it was very challenging. But the blessing is, I have to say this, God was with me the whole time. I come from a great family with my grandmothers. And so my grandmothers helped me. They had to keep my son while I went to school. Wow, it's amazing. Even with having a child, I didn't miss a beat. I graduated from high school on time. I went to the prom, but I had to take a break. I couldn't go to college right after high school because I had to provide for me and my son, right? So I had to go to trade school first. I went to Atlanta Area Tech. It's not called that anymore, but that's why I went to get a skill. And from that skill started the journey of where I am today. And then after retiring after 27 years, that was a journey. So yeah, when I was younger, I didn't see myself here, but I always saw myself as a giver. Yeah.
Okay. And so with transitioning, through being a teenage mom, trade school, as they call it now, the technical school, the
Right.
colleges, because they're turning the trade schools into colleges now.
Right.
So for that path for you, how did you see yourself, or what was your driving force to want to be an entrepreneur?
Oh, yes, I can definitely answer that. So I'm gonna have to go a little fast forward, right? After retiring from Fulton County for 27 years, I then had to go ahead and finish getting my master's. It was time to do my clinicals. I was in a master's program while I was working for the government. So got into clinicals, did all that. Once you graduated on all those things, I did community counseling, right? But I was always taught in the master's program, you eventually want to go in private practice. Well, I
Right.
see why. I served the community first. I did my community portion, but then I felt like God was leading me, hey, you know what? It's that time for you. It's time for you. But sometimes I'm loyal to a fault and I don't want to leave certain spaces. And then sometimes you just have to get on out the nest, going out there on your own. And so that's what I desire to do. And so in being an entrepreneur, the desire that I have is that I can tailor my services the way I want to. When you work with someone else, you tailor things the way they want to. Right.
Right.
And so
Right.
God has given me that, and I'm appreciative of it. It's not easy. This is entrepreneurship. It's not an easy journey, because once again, you're continuously pouring. You're providing a service, and my service is therapy. But I love what I do. I really do.
Okay. And
Okay.
so with that path, like what
Mhm.
would you say your journey was from the beginning versus what your journey is like now?
How it was before in therapy from entrepreneurship.
No, so let's go back to, okay, so I know we're jumping. So
Right.
with working for Fulton County and
Uh-huh.
what is like right now, what would you
Oh,
say would be the difference?
okay, gotcha. Okay. So working for Fulton County, as you know, is government based, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
always found myself in that place of counseling anyway. I've always been a go-to person where people come to me and talk to me. So really, I've always been on this path. But what I had to do is get the papers behind my name so I can legally and documentally have credentials behind my name to serve the
Right.
people. Because people
Right.
would come to my office, even where I work, and say, "Hey, you got a minute?" Or they would come to my office and cry. I'm like, Lord, what is going on? These people are just coming
Mm.
from my office crying. And one person said, it's just something about your office, just something about you. But I draw people to me, and that's not something I take for granted because people don't have to tell you their problems. People don't have to come talk to you. It's not like I'm oh so grand. It's just so happen I'm a vessel that God uses for that purpose, right? And so in order to get better at my craft, I had to go to school. right? And even when I was working for the county, guess what I did? I went to school at night. I worked a full-time job and went to school at night, and I had my husband and my children, right? But I had a support system at the same time. There were a lot of sacrifices. I missed not my children's birthdays, but birthday parties I was invited to, things that people wanted me to do. I had to sacrifice time, and it wasn't always easy. Writing a paper, you talk about the master's program. When I was an undergrad, my undergrad is in human services. My last paper is called like a seminar paper. It's like your very last paper. Right? It was 25 pages long. It's not easy, and you're falling asleep. I mean, it's like a sleep. You're trying to maintain your spiritual life, your children, your connection to your husband or significant other. It's a lot intricate parts. This is not an easy journey. It's not for the faint at heart. Yeah.
And that brings me to my next question. With all of those challenges, with dealing with, well, not necessarily dealing, but having, being a wife, being a mom, full-time mom, having a full-time job, would you say any of that caused you to fear what, fear of failing, or fear of missing something with your husband, fear of missing something with your children? And if it did, what was that internal conversation that you had to overcome that fear?
Right. That's a great question. Yes, there was some fear there, because my mind said, can I do this? Am I even qualified? Do I have enough mental capacity and education to see that I can even go through this program? Like, am I worthy to go? Can I even do this? Because my high school years were not that great. They were good. I got good grades, but they were not phenomenal. So am I even smart enough to go to school?
Wow.
Am I even smart enough to even go? So you have to do self-inventory. And I would have conversations with God and ask Holy Spirit to help me through those classes. But guess what you have to do? You have to form habits. If you know you're not great at something, and you know you need to improve in something, you have to change something. Right? So my study habits, I may have to read the paragraph 3 times to get the concept. You got to be honest with yourself, right? And one thing that motivated me, because I went through another school, and one thing that motivated me to somebody said, I only got to do this one time. If I can go through this one time, I don't have to repeat the course, but I only got to do this one time, and I can get to the next class. That's what motivated me. Lord, I only got to do this one time. So I would learn the material, do these things I needed to do, sacrifice some of my weekends of not going out and studying, because there was an end goal. I got to get through this. I don't want to go backwards. I want to go forwards. I want to finish.
Right.
Yeah. There's a goal in mind. I want to do this because not only am I doing it for me, I'm doing it for my family, and they're sacrificing too to help me to make sure I can go to school and go through this program that I want to go through. So I had to, get it together. Yeah, you have to talk to yourself, motivate who you are, even though that fear is there. I remember I had to take a math class, and math is not my greatest subject or whatever. I studied every weekend. It was my children that helped me get through, and my husband. I studied every Saturday at that table, looking at that information. I had to do that because guess what? It was something called a stop course, and this was a stop course. And I had some concerns and some fear right there, and I thought I wasn't sure. I just wasn't sure, but I did what I needed to do, and I stayed after. And I ended up getting a B+ out of that class. And the professor said, you got that B+ for one, you stayed and you tried and you did well and you did the work. So you got to put the work in. You got to know yourself and take those extra steps if you want to get to your end goal. Yeah. It's just not going to be given to you. It's just not. Faith without works is dead. You got to put some faith in there and you got to do the work. Yeah.
How do you determine, I guess, like when you know you're making these transitions, when you're going from one thing to another, life is not what life used to be, because they say things end, things come to an end. How do you determine what your next end goal is? Like, how do you, what was your thought process of choosing your next level or your next,
I got you. I got exactly what you're saying. Okay, so I knew that I wanted to be a therapist. I knew I wanted to be a counselor. So I had to ask questions while I was in undergrad. I had to get information. I had to talk to people. I knew that this is a great question. I knew eventually that I would have to retire, but I wasn't quite sure when, right? So that's a lot within itself. I did 27 years and I retired in 2016. That's another transition to go work in a place. Now, clinicals, you don't get paid for internship. Well, my internship did not pay, right? And I worked in a mental health hospital. So I had to do that to get to the other side, right? So there were some sacrifices, but I know if I do this here, I'm gonna get to this here. Whatever my next goal was to finish school. Doing clinical was a part of graduating. So I didn't have a choice. But what I did have to do is go in prayer, ask God to help me, because that word you used earlier, fear. Yeah, I had some hesitations, concerns, long conversations with my husband, and map out a plan. We had to map out a plan because remembering he's losing my income, right? So now what are we going to do? Yep, I retired and some things worked out in my retirement that helped us through it, but still it's one income, right? So then I had to go through the internship, then we go through the graduation, and then it's a lot of parts and pieces in there, but eventually you will get there. But you will have some good days and you will have some frustrated days. But if you have an idea of what you want to do or what your heart desire is, like going to school blindly is not going to help you, but have some type of idea of what you want to do, explore some things, shadow someone in the field that you want to be in, and see if that field is even for you, right? And getting all the information you can, because whatever you're using, what you're passionate about and what you do is probably where you need to be. I've always been in a helping field. I always help people. Even when I worked for the government, I was administrative coordinator. I intertwined with people. I was always helping someone. I always serve leadership. If it's the fire chief, the deputy fire marshal, or it always helped like leadership, like an executive. So I always help somebody or an assistant or something like that. So always dealing with people. And now guess what I do? I deal with people. Yeah.
And with dealing with people in basically all aspects of your life. It's one thing to have, a job dealing with people and this is just my job. But what was it for you that shifted in your mindset that made you realize that your purpose was deeper than what it seemed?
That's a great question. Purpose being what it's saying, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm gonna have to be honest with you too here, Jasmine. In my prayer life, Holy Spirit would share things with me and those type of things. And I had a heart to know, I knew this was for me. I didn't have a doubt about this for me. So it wasn't hard because the core and nature of me, I love people. I love what I do. So it was a heart thing and a mind thing. It wasn't so much of a struggle to deal with the people. My challenge was the process. It's the process I have to go through.
Talk about it.
Yes, it's the process you have to go through and things that you go through. And sometimes you'll find yourself alone or feel like you're on the island. And that's when you have to connect with other people to distort that thinking, because you're not alone. You're really not. But it can feel that way because the people that may start with you may not can continue with you. Yeah. So that mindset it's there. And I had some challenges for us, like confident and can I do this? And, how's my first session going to go? How are people going to receive me? I don't know. You have those type of things. Those are natural because we're not perfect, right? We're just vessels here to be used. So in that mindset, I had to get myself together. I had to work on my confidence. Yeah, I had to work on my self-esteem that, hey, you got this. Even when people say, oh, you're doing great, you're doing a great job. Yeah, but I don't feel that way. So then you have to go in your prayer closet and work on it, ask God to help you with that.
Right.
Yeah. At first, I got to get it here, then I got to get it here, and then I can respond accordingly. Yeah.
When I tell you I have my moments where I'm the same exact way, where you can tell me, oh, you doing XYZ, I love da 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 da. But if I don't feel it for me, then I appreciate what you're saying. I appreciate, the I guess the kind words and stuff like that. But it has to register inside of me that I know for a fact that I'm doing well, that I'm in alignment, that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. That even if it's reaching one person, just hearing that one hand clap,
right.
you know, because sometimes you do have that, you only hear that one hand clap when you really want to hear a round of applause, and that
Mhm.
round is a one round, you know.
Right,
So
right.
you have to tell yourself that all you I had a very close person near and dear to me told me on Monday evening that
Mhm.
all you have to please is that one.
Right,
All
right.
it takes, you gotta plead the number one person or spirit that you need to be pleasing is God. When you
Right,
got him,
right.
they told me he gonna handle everything else. Okay.
Exactly,
And when I
exactly.
tell you that hit me like a ton of bricks. And in
Mhm.
case y'all don't hear this subliminal, Contrina told me that on Monday night in our in a conversation. All you
Right.
have to do is please God and
Mhm,
give God everything that you have, and He
mhm,
gonna do everything else.
mhm,
So
mhm.
when you have those moments of I don't know if I'm enough, God, I thank you for making me enough. Thank you for
Yeah.
giving me the ability to walk this path. Thank you for
Mhm,
giving me the strength to not quit, even when
mhm,
I feel like it. Thank you for
mhm.
letting me come outside of my mind and walk in faith and not by sight. Because if I
Right.
see it, if I always want to visualize everything and I got to see it laid out perfectly,
Mhm,
sometimes you're never going to start because you're waiting on perfection. You forget what you said earlier, the process.
That's
So
it.
it takes this. I always like to say the steps of a good man are order, but if you're not stepping, you can't. He can't order
Mm,
nothing. You have
mhm.
to move.
Right.
And so I love that. I love that breakdown. It's
Mhm,
about the process,
mhm,
and in becoming who you are today,
mhm, mhm,
throughout your entire journey,
mhm.
how has it been for you to maintain Contrina?
Mm. It's not always easy. It's not always easy for me because I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes I'm doing a lot. So
Mhm.
I have learned how to pull back a little bit. And remember, I mentioned earlier, sometimes what you give, you don't receive.
Right.
So in my giving, there's a verse in the Bible that talks about, and we hear all the time, don't cast your pearls to swine. So
Mhm.
I'm learning at this age, give, but don't give it all. Leave some for me, right? That's how I maintain me. And also, I do something called self-love days, and that's on Tuesdays. I take time for myself. It was yesterday, and I definitely enjoyed it. I think, oh, I want to got my feet and nails done. That's what I did yesterday. Got my feet and nails done. So I did that. So I've been taking that for me, making sure I get my rest. I am still working on getting in bed a little bit early. I have a tendency to stay up a little bit because of
Mhm.
work, but just learning to narrow that down to make sure that I'm poured into as much as I pour out, as much as I love going to church, getting the word and that type of thing, and just listen to music and different things to maintain who I am. I'm now
Right.
doing my best back in the gym every other day, those type of
Mhm.
things. Just the small things become the big things eventually, because what you put in is what you get out. If I'm
Right.
not putting good things back in me, I can't give good things out. It's just how it works. Yeah.
And that's just the way the cookie crumble, as they say. You
Yeah.
know, and it's hard. That's the one of the main reasons why the fly period.
Mhm.
I that is my brand, that is my baby, that is my heart,
Mhm.
because it is a ever evolving journey on
Mhm.
loving you first
Mhm.
and understanding what that is,
Mhm.
because you're not the same at 20, you're not the same at 30, you're not the same at 40, 50, and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
So your self-love looks different at every level. The
Yes. Oh,
age
yeah.
changes, like self-love at 19, 20 could be going to the club, hanging with your girlfriends, and whatever the case may be. 30, self-love is I'm in the house by 8 o'clock. I'm in my PJs on my sofa looking at the TV.
Exactly.
It may be a little ratchet TV, but I'm looking at
Right.
it.
Right. Right.
40, I transition from the sofa to the bed at 9 o'clock. I'm not going out.
Right.
We have, if I want to hang with my friends, we cook dinner at the house. Somebody bring
Mhm.
a pot,
Mhm.
or like
Exactly.
the new slumber party. Everybody pick a color and bring snacks of that color. Different
Mhm.
things like that. And
Right.
so it's like you have to know how to love you in your transition.
Mhm.
You have to know how to increase your self-love with
Mhm.
every level that you go to.
Right.
Because going to get, and this is, no shade or no disrespect or anything like
Yeah.
that, but going to get your nails and your hair did this week may not be appealing to you next week. You may just want to stay home and go to
Yeah.
sleep and get
Yeah.
some rest.
Mhm.
My self-love day is me going to bed,
Mhm.
taking a nap,
Mhm.
putting my
Mhm.
phone on do not disturb because I know where
Yeah.
my husband, my kids, and my grandkids are, and getting me some sleep. If
Yeah.
you're not burning up, if you're not in an accident and your bones hanging out of your body, don't call me. You
Don't call
know,
me. Don't
so
call me.
it's understanding
Mhm.
what kind of love you have to give to yourself, because
Mhm.
it's not going to always be the same. So
Mhm.
I always like to ask, that's why I like to ask that question, because you have to know how to care for you in the midst of everything that you have going on. And a lot
Mhm.
of us don't understand how to do that. A lot,
Mhm.
like, just say for us, I tell my business, real quick.
Mhm.
One weekend, all my kids were gone. Like, and I'm sitting in the house like, okay, what I'm finna do? I'm like, I'm calling the grandma. Hey, is he okay? You need
Yeah.
me to come pick him up? Is it, if you don't get off my phone and go find you something to do.
Yes. Yes.
I drove around for 2 hours trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because I was just that, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I had one of my sons was at work, my middle son, he was
Right.
at work. My baby girl, she gone, baby
Right.
boy gone. And I'm like, okay, now this is a new season of me finding something different to do. This
Mhm.
is a new season of, okay, because now we on the verge of another child is about to be gone out the house. So
Oh
it's
wow.
just gonna be, as we like to call him, it's just gonna be Bishop in here by himself, you
All
know.
right.
So,
Sure. Right.
and he's gone every other weekend. So now it's like, okay, let me start looking at different things that I can do that are, because you got free events that you can go
Yeah.
to on the weekends, walk around the park, go
Mhm.
window shopping, go get you some ice cream that's $8 that you normally know you're not gonna spend because you
Right.
got that fryers in the freezer.
Right.
But
Right.
so it's just knowing how to do different things to maintain your self identity and being aware of you.
That's so true. And I want to add to that too when you were talking, Jasmine. First, learning how to be happy with you. Also, learning how to sit quiet with you. Sometimes people don't want to sit quiet by themselves because then we begin to have the thoughts. And some
Right.
people are not happy with their thoughts because they don't know what to do with them. So, first, you
True.
got to be good with you, learn how to be happy with you, and then sit with yourself to see what you do like, to see what your passion is, to see what you do enjoy, right? And
Mhm.
being careful not to define yourself according to your family. Yeah, you're a wife, but you're also you. You're a mother, but you're also you. You can serve in church, but you're also you.
Right.
What do you really like? What is God calling you to? What have you been thinking about? What is something that you want to do that you've never done before?
Mhm.
Yeah. And see what
Yeah.
that looks like for you.
Right.
Finding different ways to enjoy yourself. Go to a museum, go to a play, whatever. Take yourself on a date.
Mhm.
Yeah. Enjoy
Mhm.
yourself. Enjoy being by yourself.
Enjoy
Go have
yourself.
I can have lunch with someone in a restaurant and I can have lunch all by myself in a restaurant. I sure can. And order just as nicely. I can take me a book, any of those things, and I can sit there because I'm good with me. But do this happen overnight? No. Because something you said, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on, you become a different person. When I turned 40, I feel like I was grown. I'm like, oh, I'm grown now. But when I turned 50, oh, you can't tell me nothing. But you can. I'm 53. I don't mind sharing my age, but you can't tell me nothing. I don't live some life. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to be open. That never changes, but I'm good with me
Right.
regardless. And when you get delivered from people, places, and things, oh, you good. You good. You'll still
Mhm.
have a little stings every now and then because you're still growing, you're still evolving. But when you get delivered from people, that's big. It's big. You
It
have to, and it's not an overnight process.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell me about well, not just me. Tell us about outside the four walls. What is
Yeah.
that? How did you how was that concept created, thought about, brought into the world? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, outside the four walls counseling services is my baby. I went to a women's conference, and I, talk about network, putting yourself out there. And I went to a conference. I really didn't know the speaker that well. I said, let me go here. So went to listen, got a word, whatever that word was, got in the car, and the Holy Spirit dropped in my spirit because I was wanting a business name. I said, I don't know what to call it. I don't know what it's gonna be. And the Holy Spirit said, outside the four walls counseling services. And that four is not FOUR. It's the number four
Mhm.
outside of the four walls. And your four walls is work, society, family, and you. You are the four walls. That's your four walls right there. And even here in your mind is four, right? So that's how that came about. And I'm so excited about it. I've seen people transform, come out of those four walls, become themselves, and do well. But yeah, that's outside the four walls counseling. That's my heart. I love it because I feel like a part of that four walls too is buildings that we're in, the concepts of even church being in there, the concept of even home and work, the four walls. Let's come outside of the four walls and discover the real you.
Mm.
So that's how it came about.
Listen. And when was it established? When did you come up with behind the outside of four walls?
Oh wow, that became even before I started the business. Oh yeah, that was
Mm.
like, whew, that was like a
Wow.
long time ago.
Wow.
Yes, long time ago. Eventually, I knew I was gonna have a business. I just didn't know the name
Yeah.
come to fruition. But that was I know over 10 years ago. It was just a long time ago. It was a long time ago. And I wrote it down and I kept it.
And okay, so that brings me back to a question.
Mhm.
As I'm playing back what you said in my mind,
Okay.
how important is it for you to build a relationship where you will be able to hear when God gives you those downloads and you don't miss it?
Oh, I love that question right there. Good question, Jasmine. You're a great host. Great host. Yeah. Now, that's a great question. All right. I'm going to answer that too. Um, building building a relationship with God is on a daily basis. It's not something that you pray for 5 days and then you'll pray another time for 6 months, right?
Mhm,
Now,
mhm.
here's the thing. The relationship you have with God is between you and God. It may not look like everyone else's relationship. You may
Mm,
talk a little different to God than other people do. But if you have this vertical relationship right here going, you're going to be in a good space. You just have to do it every day. Is one day you may pray 30 minutes. One day you may pray 5. One day you
mhm.
may pray 10. Another day may be longer than that. But
Right.
developing that relationship is prayer, getting in your word, getting with like-minded people. And the way you get with like-minded people is that you go to church, right? And
Mm,
everybody got their own relationship where they go to church and that type of thing. But having that core of you, spending time with God daily in the word, in fellowship. And sometimes you might not want to do it because of whatever life circumstances may be happening for you. Every day's not going to be a perfect day to do that. It's just
mhm.
a human. Sometimes like, yes, Lord, hallelujah, praise Jesus. Like, well, Lord, I just don't know today. I really don't know. I just don't. But you got to be okay with you. And then some people are afraid to have that relationship for whatever reason. But a loving God, I would think, want what's best for you. It's just like us as parents, we want what's best for our children. But if they don't come talk to us, sometimes we don't know what's going on with them. We can observe what's going on. But a lot of times if they come ask for help, we can't help them. I can't help you if you don't tell me what's going on with you. That's the same thing with God. He's our Father. If we don't come talk to him and let him know what we need, desire, it's our desires. Talk to him so he can bless you and give you direction. And one way, to go back to the core of the question, how do you know, right? And for me, it's an unction in my belly for me, and I sense it and I know it. Also, too, I don't want to go too deep. I'm gonna say it gently. Okay, so if you pray in your heavenly language, if
Mhm.
people understand that, that
Right.
is a direct connection with God.
Right.
Direct connection with him. And so
Right.
as you upload that way, God downloads in your spirit, right?
Mhm.
And I'm talking about speaking in tongues. Let's be clear. I'll make
Yeah.
it clear.
Talk about, listen, talk about it.
Yeah, speaking in tongues, let's be clear. So as you're praying in the spirit, as you know, things are going up for you, and it's an exchange. You upload, he download. You're gonna
Right.
get that, and you're gonna know within yourself. Also, too, depending on who you are, asking God. I know for me, I ask God to make things plain for me. I don't need. It
Mhm.
don't have to be deep, ocean water. Make it plain and let me know. One thing for me, as I've developed my relationship with God and things that I've asked for, I don't have to necessarily run after them. I have to get information, study, get all that kind of stuff. But God would just, those doors would just open. It's not like it, I'm telling you, it's amazing. Like if I say, it has been to the point um where I can think something and I'm like, it'll happen. It's just in relationship with him and where you are. And this relationship is not built overnight. So
Right.
some people think God is a microwave. He's not a microwave. And we shouldn't treat him that way, right? It's
Mhm.
developing that relationship. You wouldn't want your children just to come to you because you had something. You want them to come to you because they appreciate you and love you and want to know more about you and have a relationship with you. And you want to have a relationship with them. God is the same way. He's our father. He wants what's best for us, but the world will have us to think he does not want what's best for us, right?
Right.
Here's a key too. Some, not all, don't sit long enough to have a relationship with him because they're getting impatient because of life circumstances that are boggling them down. And so they don't have the capacity or they don't think clear enough to say, hey, let me sit here just a little bit longer before I sprint out this door. God can keep me from an accident if I just talk to him a little bit longer. He'll give me some more direction about job, how to feed my kids, what to move, who to have in my life, not to have my life, where I should be and what position I should be in if you just have a relationship with him. Yeah, it's God over everything. God comes first. And so in order to do that, you have to, I mentioned earlier, building habits. The habits you have now is determining where you are now. Yeah. And the habits you
Mm.
have now will also put you to your future if you don't change some of your habits. Yeah.
My.
Yeah.
So that brings me to my next question for you.
Okay.
What does maintaining life in business look like for you?
Whew, that's a good one. Whew. It's not easy. It's a daily process. It's not easy. Um, it's not easy. If you everything that I do regarding business is it's like you have whatever your business may be. If you don't maintain it on a daily basis, it'll show up for you later, right? And even
Mhm.
for myself, certain notes. So there's something in my field called okay. Say you go to the doctor, right? And say they bring in a laptop or a rolling thing where they can put in a computer. That's charting,
Mhm.
right? In my
Mhm.
field, I have to chart too. So if I'm not charting every day or every 24 to 48 hours to get those notes into insurance companies and stuff like that, I don't get paid. So I have to maintain it, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes for those that are in the clinical field and charting, it can be a hassle. So maintaining that, maintain your records, all of that stuff plays a part in your business, but it's not always easy, but you have to do it. So guess what you have to do? Set aside time to do those things. Like if you're seeing people or patients or your days of interacting with people or a certain day, set aside time where you can put your notes in or where you can do the extra, where you can make sure your books are straight and all those type of things, where you're responding to phone calls and emails and calling people back, setting that time aside and letting
Mhm.
people know, hey, one thing you have to guard is your time because it's something you never get back. Time is precious for all of us. So even if somebody hits me up like, I want to do this or that, okay, so we can give you a 15-minute free consultation. But guess what? I have to schedule that. It just don't happen on the phone. We're going to have to schedule that. I
Mhm.
had to learn how to take back my time so I could be more productive in my day. If you don't take back your time and you taking all these phone calls and there's no structure and habits in that, it's gonna be hard for you. So I had to pull myself together, get some systems in place for me so I can be more effective.
I agree 100%. 100%. And that also even comes down to when you're in business, not just if this is not your business, don't be frivolously sitting up there scrolling Facebook on
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, because when TikTok can draw you in, and the next thing you know, you get on TikTok at 9 and then you look up, it's 2 o'clock. You know, you didn't watch.
Right.
Don't ask me how I know, because you're gonna judge me. Okay. But you know, it will, when I tell you, it will pull you in there. You start looking at cooking videos,
Right.
darling, all kinds of, and then they say you just saw a video that you didn't cried about, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
it is very imperative that you give yourself a specific time frame on when to just leisure, when you
Mhm.
have a pleasure moment, you know, to say, okay,
Mhm.
well, I'm gonna take 30 minutes, I'm gonna, you know, do my social media, whatever it
Yep.
is, and then I'm off. You know,
Right.
it's and block, and what I like to do, what I'm learning to do, let me say that, because I ain't can't say I like it because it's not on my schedule yet, okay? But what I'm learning to do is to schedule that time in between two really important things, so I don't
Mhm.
have a choice but to
Mhm.
stop. You know,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
if I know I have an appointment prior to and an appointment right, you know, afterwards, I can
Mhm.
put it right in. Okay, give myself
Mhm.
15 minutes, go
Mhm.
scroll Facebook, or, you know, whatever the case may be,
Mhm.
or go take a break, and
Mhm.
then I go back, you know, get back to what I really, you know, what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
That works for me, you know, because it keeps me, when I'm finding out, it keeps me on track, and it
Mm.
keeps me from not having 9 hours of social media time on my phone at the end of the week, you know.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it keeps me yeah, it keeps me from not just spending unnecessary time that, like you said, I cannot get back. It ain't
Right.
gonna be multiplied, it's not gonna be replenished. That time is not gone. And I done
Right.
sat here and, like, you know, 59 posts, and it didn't add nothing to my day, you know.
Right.
So
Right. I
so that
definitely get it. Yeah,
yeah,
I've done that, Jazz. I'm here for you because in the field that we're in, or people are in, when you're talking to people, so you hear a lot, right? So
yeah,
as you hear,
yeah.
you also giving and that type of thing. So I've done that before too. I'm like, oh, you know what? I need a little mental break. Let me just change my mindset. Let me go ahead. And before you know, oh Lord, it's time to get to my appointment. But you need to be ready a little bit 15 minutes early before your appointment to make sure
Right.
you're not careful, you will continue to scroll. And so you have
Yep.
to be conscious of that and cautious of that. Hey, you know what? Let me get off here because this what I do
Mhm.
is more important. So that's that. Yep. And the phones are addictive. That's all of us. You have to be careful with those phones and with you do and be mindful
Mhm.
of that because time will keep passing by. And if you haven't known what you're supposed to, then guess what? Then you're frustrated with yourself as a result.
Mm.
Like,
Yep.
man, had I not did that, I could have had this done and been more productive. And not that it's something wrong with social media because it connects you to other people, business, and stuff like that. But just having some type of structure to it or form a
Right.
habit. You know what? I'm gonna time myself when it's time to go off and put on. Even if you put on your phone, 10, 15 minutes is all I'm gonna give it. Boom, because you can always go back because it's gonna be there. You're gonna scroll the history. You're not gonna
Mhm.
miss anything. But sometimes you do just want that little break. But training yourself, nope, this all I can give it. Yeah.
Right.
Maximizing your time. Yeah.
Right. So my last two questions,
Sure.
well, not questions, but my last thing, two things.
Hmm.
First is, how can everyone follow you on social media if they want to book a consultation with you with outside the four walls? Give us that information.
Yes. I could put I think I can put it in the chat, my website. They can go to my website. Let me do that
Mhm.
right quick. Okay, give me
Okay.
1 second. They can do that. And I can answer the other question while you as well if you want me to.
Um. Okay. Um. My next
Um,
question
mhm.
for you is,
Oh, wait a minute.
um.
Thought I put it.
mhm.
Okay, let me see. Did you get it, Jazz? Or did
Um.
oh
Oh,
I'm not
you
even
put
on.
it. No, you put it in the
Okay, let
private.
me
That's the private.
see. Okay. Let me see. How can I go down here and put it in? Okay. Was www.outsidethefourwalls.com, but I'm trying to see. I don't see, how do I, because I,
You see where it says comments at the top? You see comments?
yes, I do, but I don't see where I can put it in. So this
It's at the bottom.
at the
So
very
at the
bottom.
bottom where it says post a comment, you see it?
No, I do not. Maybe
I'll
because I'm
put it
new.
in there. Let
Thank
me
you. I
go.
appreciate it.
I'll
Yes,
put it in there
please.
for you. I got you. I
Yeah,
got you.
yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely, man. Okay, so my final question for you is, if you had one piece of advice
Hmm.
for a person that is looking to go into entrepreneurship,
Hmm.
looking to go back to school, or just it, or someone that is just in the midst of a transition in their life,
Hmm.
what would be your advice to that person?
Great question. Yes. First, my first advice would be patient with yourself. You're gonna get there. You will have some challenges along the way. Find your support system. If you're a person of faith, practice your prayer, practice your get into your word. If you have questions about any of those journeys, your faith, where you're going and what you're doing, ask for help. Don't be ashamed. The journey is not easy, but it's worth the process, and the rewards are great. You will get there. Ask questions, do your homework. Don't go in blindly or oblivious to think it's just gonna work out. You have to put the work in. It's not gonna come easy. Now there will be open doors along the journey of what you're doing, but
Mhm.
ask questions, seek help. Even if you're in a struggle and there's self-doubt, go talk to somebody. Also revamp, and also kind of do a little self-discovery work if you can, to see if you're doing the right thing at the right time. It could be a great idea in what you want to do, but is your timing off? Is the timing right for you? And what I mean by that, I can give a great example. I started college way before I started the last time. This was my second stint, right? The first time I
Mhm.
went to college was not a good time. It just didn't work out. The last time I went to college was great because I started when my youngest daughter was in the sixth grade. That's when I started undergrad. And then once I left
Wow.
undergrad, then I went and got my master's right after. So everybody journey is different. And so don't compare yourself to others, but get information from others. You can observe people, you can watch people, but your journey is going to be different. Everybody's journey may be similar, but it's not the same. You will have some things in common, but just knowing what God has for you is for you, and being patient with that. Sometimes we don't understand why certain things happen or what that look like. It's like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this, but why is it so hard? It's hard because you're supposed to be doing it, and it's not going to be easy to you.
Right.
Yeah, everything is not going to always be easy, but it's worth the work. And at the end, you will have that journey. At the end, you will have that smile on your face, like, dang, got it, I did it. Come on, God, I did it. So you get excited about it, and just replenishing yourself in the process. Don't forget about you on the journey, and just know
Mhm.
that you're going to get there. You are going to get there, but it takes time. And sometimes people don't like that time portion, but it takes time. You do, because you're learning new crafts, you're learning new things, you're doing having different experiences, you're trying to connect to the right people. And sometimes you have to learn the people, like, no, this ain't the right one. You don't know people just off the back. It takes time to get to know people. It takes time to build relationships. But just keep a pen and paper and put down what you want to do. Write the vision and make it plain, even though sometimes the plan may change. But if you got a vision, you got something to work with. It's just, how
Yeah.
do I get there? Help me to get there. Yep. And I think each one should reach one or pull one. If you're doing something somebody else desires you to, pull them into and show them the ropes. Some things we do have to pay for, but some things we don't have to pay for. Now you should have something that you're able to give back to the community or person who's trying, right? If they just ask you a simple question, answer the question, give the information. But also, that's built through relationships as well. Yeah.
Woo! You finna tap on something real heavy right there.
Yeah.
Cause okay, we ain't gonna talk about it. We're gonna leave it for this. That's gonna be a whole nother show because we talk about that for a long we talk about that for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Learn,
can.
be helpers one to another, and I'm gonna leave it
Right.
right there.
Right.
Amen.
Amen. And I'm not saying people should pimp your gift. That's not what I'm saying. But
Right.
using discretion, hey, give back. Because
Yeah.
that very person you give something to can be the very one in 1 to 5 years to become a billionaire and bless your socks off because you sowed a seed. Yeah. You just never know.
I keep short socks on so it ain't gotta blow for no way. So go ahead, honey. Blow my knock my socks all the way off.
Exactly.
I'm looking for it when I tell you. I don't mind helping it. You hear me? I don't
Exactly.
mind.
Right.
Listen. But like you said, be mindful. Make sure you don't give, like you said earlier, going back to what
Yeah.
you said earlier, don't give and give and give and give and give until you become deplenished and now
Right.
you walking around on fumes. Also
Hmm.
keep that in mind as well.
Hmm.
But with that being said, I don't want to come behind, the the lady of the evening because she done already gave her advice. She has given a beautiful, beautiful insight to your life, into your story, into
Hmm.
your journey, what your daily process looks like, the ups, the downs, the hard times, even the good times. So for just sitting on here on the show with me and just taking a time out of your busy evening, I want to again say thank you because I know you could be doing your charting right now. You could be filing some records, doing something, sending out some bills or something. But for you taking a moment to be here with me on the Fly Show, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I hope that, something that you said this evening inspire, touches, heals, or give someone, just a mindset that they know that if she can do it, she was a teen mom, she had a job, had a career, retired, and is still thriving in her purpose. What makes me so different? And I know if you've inspired just one person, I know that you've done God's will. And it gives my heart so much joy to know you personally, to call you friend, to
Hmm.
call you sister auntie that I call you.
Right. Right.
Auntie. But
Right.
again, thank you so much for the show. I greatly enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. I just want to say thank you so much for having me, and everyone that's on here made comments. Thank you for being here. I just, like you said, if I reach one or said something to inspire someone, it's greatly appreciated. And I just want to say that you are phenomenal. Thank you for having me. It's greatly appreciated. You are phenomenal. You're doing a great work and you're doing a great thing. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep inspiring others to be great as well as you being great. So this is not the interview. It's more to come. I'm excited to see what God's going to be doing in your life and the steps that you're going in. So this is beautiful. Thank you so much. It's greatly appreciated. I love to serve. Thank you.
You are so welcome. You are so welcome. Stick with him. Stick here
Okay.
with me, okay?
I
Don't go
got,
nowhere.
I'm not
But
going to go nowhere.
we gonna have to say good night to the rest of y'all. Thank you all so much to everyone that tuned in. We are here live every week, same time, same channel, live at 8 p.m. If you see the ticker down at the bottom, make sure you follow the instructions. Go to Empower Nation, the YouTube We Empower Network YouTube channel. Make sure you click the bell button for live shows every single day. It is something new happening on We Empower Network. And just to let you in on a little secret, in case you hadn't seen me there, you can see the Fly Show on We Empower Network as well. So make sure you go like the YouTube channel, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell somebody to get on YouTube and go follow We Empower Network. All right. So you all enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much for being right here on the Fly Show, where the Fly Show stands for First Love You. And you all enjoy the rest of your evening. Remember to first love you because you absolutely deserve it. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
I'll be your temple. I'll be a sanctuary. You can come dwell here. Won't you come and fill me, Jesus?